Oh my God, Ammar, we are back. It's been way too long. How the heck are you?
I'm good, but look at you. Where are you?
Yeah, look at me. As
Eh,
usual, this is Thai GP on tour. I'm in Singapore. Look at that.
Look at that. Live Shez, come on. We got to do better than this. Tired GP is covering the Singapore Grand Prix live with a delayed report, albeit, but it's still live.
It's not delayed. The Grand Prix
I
is not
mean,
till Sunday. I've got ages.
Singapore is so way ahead in terms of time. I have to look up what time it's going to be at, like, because the European races I knew it's about noon, 1 o'clock or whatever, right? Like I can't. I don't know about this one. No.
Yeah, but yeah. It's pretty late. In fact, is it even Wednesday where you are?
It's Tuesday night in Los Angeles. Shez, we have picked prime time, and all but two people are joining us live right now. Like, would you know it? I mean, look at that. We picked time that works in my time zone. America might be on fire, but what the heck, man? We're here doing this.
Well, everywhere seems to be on fire, but we're here in Singapore where it's not on fire, and actually everyone seems very geared up for a Grand Prix. They're closing the roads, they're putting up signs. Yeah, it's going to be good. In fact, you could even see the pit lane sort of coming together.
Nice.
If you look out across the marina, it's very very exciting.
Nice. I want to shout out Stefano Domenicali. If you're there, hook up my guy, please. Put him in some good seats, and so we can get some fresh coverage here. Like, come on, do it, Formula One, do it.
Don't change my seats. I'm very very happy with my seats.
You don't want VIP passes and pit lane entrances?
VIP passes would be great. They are never ever going to be turned down. But my seats are just fine.
Yeah.
But we have got a few F1 topics aside from where I am to talk about. So should we get into some of those? First thing I need to say was condolences to Sir Lewis Hamilton on the loss of his best friend. That sucks.
That sucks.
Have you got a pet, Ammar?
I do not. The kids make up for all of it, but you know what? I think on a serious note, yeah, I think you can tell when. Roscoe was around for like 12 years with him, right? If I have that right, like that's a long time. I mean, that's something that I read. Like, so that's got to be tough. And you could tell when he missed the tire test and the Pirelli test. I mean, although I would have argued that there's much better things in life than a Pirelli test, but whatever.
Don't tell Max that.
Don't tell Max that. He'd show up for everything. Yeah, that sucks, man. I hope he finds a way to heal, and it's tough, and I don't know what the next steps look like. So condolences to him, but right on with that, Shez.
Yeah, that's a pole position in Singapore upcoming, I'm sure.
It doesn't help. No Ferrari should get pole. Let me just say this, Shez. Like, I am so tired of seeing statistics about Leclerc has always got pole on this track and on that track. Please, guys, stop it. No more poles. I want Lewis and
that's going to be the tagline for this episode.
I am tired of expectations. And by the way, the FIA needs to give a practice world championship, because Max is not winning that ever. Like, we in Ferrari land have got that down pat, Shez. Like, where is the championship for that? When do we get to celebrate that? When do we get to pop champagne, break out confetti, like whatever it is that we do in Maranello? Like, when do we get to do that? Like, why is that not happening?
Yeah, I mean, well, they do it in MotoGP, don't they? You get placed into a particular qualifying segment based on your practice time. So yeah, maybe we should be doing that. Yeah, you're right.
We should be doing that.
Before we get into the main thing, I also just wanted to congratulate Max Verstappen on his debut win at the
Ferrari
in a Ferrari. Oh my God! Is there nothing that man can't do?
There's nothing that man can't do, and I also think there's nothing that stops the F1 fan base from complaining. Like, the only thing I could hear is like, Lewis Hamilton fans and Verstappen fans going at it and saying, well, actually Hamilton won a sprint and Verstappen won and this and that. And like, oh God, man, can we just not enjoy stuff, like, for a change? Like, especially if you're a Ferrari fan, man, you got to enjoy whatever wins come, because there ain't no wins coming in a Grand Prix this year. Like, it's done. All those chances are gone. Like, I mean, really? You think Singapore?
6 races left.
6 races left. That's what you have. Shez, I'm willing to bet any kind of punishment that Ferrari will not win a single race these next 6. Come on, let's see where you're at. Come on, let's do it. How do you feel?
It would equal their worst seasons ever from sort of the mid-90s or something. But if that were actually to happen, actually no, 2014 wasn't it? 2014 was the last season they didn't win a race. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be pretty bad, and they're still only third in the constructors. So
yes, no, of course, I forgot third in constructors. Goodness, oh my God,
who knows?
Hang that on a flag in Maranello. Come on, for crying out loud! Oh my God.
But anyway, so just to get back to what I was actually talking about, congratulations to Max.
Yes.
So yes, social media did decide to just turn it into a Max versus Lewis fest. But if we take that out of it, actually, if you look at what he's achieved, it's not just the fact that he's turned up at the Nürburgring and won a race in a car that up until 3 months ago he'd never driven. I think it says something about the power of sim, because his teammate, was it Chris Lullum he had in the other car, was a guy that he basically picked up from the sim world and brought him up. And got him to a point where he could drive an actual GT3 car around the Nordschleife, and they won the race on debut. That's unbelievable. You should be able to do that. And not just that, he was doing his standard Formula One thing, like he was at in Monza and Baku, where it was 30-40 seconds up the road. Unbelievable driving. Really, really good.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that guy cannot do. And I'll
show
say
a
this,
little
you
bit
said,
of enthusiasm.
I mean, come on. Six races left, Shez. I have not, to your point, I have not given up on Max winning this championship. I have not. And I recognize that Singapore is a track where Red Bull struggled, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, he may not win Singapore, but oh man, I could see him making a dent in the McLaren duo's lead, and I think there's something there. I could see that happening. I can totally see that happening. I guess the question is who's winning the race. So I don't know what that means, but
yeah, I mean, after Monza, after that nonsense at Monza with the pit stop and having to swap them around, nothing would make me happier than Max Verstappen winning this championship. Honestly.
Oh yeah, that would be the best comeback ever, right? Like, I mean, he's down.
Yeah, exactly. And at least it's somebody that actually seems to want this championship. That's kind of what I want to see.
It's been nice to see life back in him, though, right? I mean, that's the best thing so whatever they've changed, right, post Christian Horner, it seems to be working. It at least seems to have gotten perked up, and that's what you need. You just need a Max Verstappen that knows he has a chance. That's all he really needs. So yeah, I'm right there. All right, but let's get to our main thing now. Come on.
Okay, let's go. This is basically going to turn into an Ammar sorrow fest.
That's what I live for.
But if there's anybody that knows more about being a sad Ferrari fan out there, I've yet to find them. And so, Ammar, this is really just for you. I'm just going to kick up a couple of questions. So it turns out in Italian media that Charles Leclerc has been shopping around and talking to other Formula One teams, namely Aston Martin, Mercedes, and McLaren. So I've really got two big questions for you. The first is, should Charles Leclerc be leaving Ferrari? That's the first question. And second question is, if he's going to leave, where is he going to go out of those three teams? And subheading to question number 2, if he is going to one of those teams, who's his teammate going to be? And is he going to beat them? All right, so let's start with that first question. Should he be leaving Ferrari?
Absolutely should be leaving Ferrari. I mean, a month ago, I put together, a mini dissertation on why Charles Leclerc is kind of shooting himself in the foot in terms of his blind love for Ferrari, much like the rest of us Tifosi. I mean, we keep coming back with hope and hope and hope and hope and hope, and all it does is it gets crushed. And And Leclerc's made some mistakes along the way this season, so there's certainly some blame to be placed on him. But who hasn't made mistakes this season, right? I mean, everybody. The championship leader has made mistakes. Max himself has made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. So I don't put this season on either of the Ferrari drivers in terms of just the dismal performance that has been there. But I think, and I'm hoping, based on what I've read, which we should clarify are only rumors, right? I mean, the Italian media is notorious for saying stuff that, and they had Fred Vasseur getting fired too. So let's take that for what it's worth. But I genuinely hope that the news is true and that at least Charles Leclerc is looking at options, right? Because I think he has sort of put himself in a box where he has had this blind confessed love to Ferrari in a way that just says he's sort of ranked having one Ferrari championship as maybe 3 or 4, right? Or whatever that means. And it means so much to him because of the Jules Bianchi connection, because of the fact that he's essentially a Ferrari Academy driver, because of the fact that he got this seat, which, by the way, had Kimi Räikkönen in there back in, what do I want to say, 2019, right? 2018 and 2018 or 2019 season. So I get that he feels a certain way, but I have to believe that he's smart enough to recognize that, look, next year is going to be very telling in terms of where Ferrari is or isn't. And this is it. So if he's not going to win, or he's not going to have a chance, this is not even about Lewis, by the way. It's not about the Ferrari favoring Lewis or not. This is about them putting a competitive car, having a weekend that's executed well, having strategy calls that are winning calls, even if they don't result in wins. And Ferrari has shown inability to put together one weekend this season. And the fact that they were P2 in the constructors last year, 14 wins, a one Carlos Sainz accident away from winning the constructors championship. I mean, can you imagine, Shez? I mean, I would be even more furious this year if Ferrari had won the championship last year and showed up with what they did this year. I'm almost happy they didn't win last year, right? Because it's been a SH1T show. So he should leave Ferrari. Charles Leclerc should leave Ferrari, and he should look for options. And it should be in 2027 when he, much like Max, will have a chance.
I'm going to kick back. I'm going to kick back at you a little bit because, as you said, Charles Leclerc is a lifer. And you talked about the Tifosi always being full of hope. I would say that Charles Leclerc is the biggest Tifosi. Yes. He's always going to have hope in Ferrari, much more than you do. So why would he leave, especially when they're talking about now restructuring the team, and Fred Vasseur is going to have much more autocratic control over car decisions. Isn't that what you've been asking for? Isn't that the fix they need? Isn't that the thing that's going to make Charles go, all right, yeah, you're right, I'll stay? And isn't this these conversations that any driver has with other teams, isn't that just something that all drivers do anyway, as a way of bargaining, negotiating with the team that they're at? I want more money, I want more control. Aren't these all just things that drivers do? Is this not Charles just trying to consolidate his position at Ferrari?
I mean, it could be that. It really could. I have little evidence to suggest that, though, Shez, because he has not shown a desire to be that kind. I mean, in the past, you have criticized him. Others have criticized him for not being vocal enough, comparing him to some of the greats like Max, like Lewis, like Michael, saying, oh, this is my team. This is how and not just saying it that way, but saying, this is how I want things to be done. This is how I want the car to be set up. This, all of the other sort of the intangibles. He has not shown a proclivity to saying, okay, I want you to do these things because that is going to make me successful. And in fact, he had the greatest window, you could argue, when Carlos was there, because Carlos was the clear number 2 driver by all measurements, right? And Charles, being the Ferrari homeboy, the golden child, if you will, had that in the palm of his hands. But either he was unable to exert his will on the team, or they were unable to do it. And this is why I argue with folks that compare Ferrari to other teams. Like, Ferrari is an animal of its own. Like, they do whatever the hell they want, Chess, and this. And they're not prone to listening to evidence, to ways of doing things in a more successful manner, to thinking about sound organizational leadership principles. Like, they're not doing any of that stuff. So I have no reason to believe that even if Charles exerted himself on the team and wanted things to be done his way, that they would have actually responded. And maybe that is why his management, which is headed by Guess who? Jean Todd's son, Nick Todd. He has. Maybe they are seeing the writing on the wall and say, okay, at minimum, we need to create some leverage. But in all honesty, Shez, there is a very good case to be made. And Shez, you have said this. What is the history of Ferrari Academy drivers winning championships? It's very bad. I mean, the history is against him, right? So if he probably needs to go out and win something.
That's the same for nearly every academy, though, isn't it?
Well, but again, but in this case, he would be moving somewhere
Max
else.
Didn't come through an academy. Lewis did, but he had to be kicked out of the academy before he came back into it again. So, there isn't a massively brilliant history of academy drivers winning world championships. What I will say is that I think that what you're saying about Charles and his how vocal he is within the team, you definitely have a point there. But perhaps that's the problem. He's so ingrained within the team that he feels like it's better to say things away from the camera. You see it all the time that when he comes out into the media pen, he will have gone back on something that he said in the cockpit, or he will say, I've got an opinion about this, but I'm not going to say anything about it now. I'm going to talk about it behind closed doors. It's not for you guys to listen to. And perhaps that's the thing that actually he needs to change. That he needs to feel that he's much more his own person and not just an employee of the Ferrari machine, which is what they want him to be. That's what Ferrari want. That's out of their academy driver. They don't want somebody that is particularly independent. But I think that goes against what a Formula One driver needs to be. I always compare Charles to probably my favorite driver of all time, Gilles Villeneuve. And Villeneuve was loved by the Tifosi. He was loved by the old man himself, not because he was a company guy, but they loved him because actually he wore his heart on his sleeve, and he said and did what he wanted to do. But that, I think, is a separate issue to what you are talking about, which is, can Ferrari ever deliver him a car and an operational performance that's going to allow him to win a world championship? It's something that he wants, but yes, it's always a bit tricky with Ferrari in that unless you get a team within that setup that are completely independent from the top level management, it becomes impossible. And every team up and down the pit lane has shown you that if you have top level interference, you just need to look at Alpine right now. You don't get results, and Ferrari have been victim to this year on year. And just when they're starting to turn a corner, that's when somebody jumps in and says, "No, we've had enough. We need a change," and everything gets thrown in the bin. That's what I'm really worried about with Fred. Like, I want them to make this management change. I want him to be in charge. I want him to have some independence. And I'm glad that they're saying this. I'm glad that, potentially that's what's going to happen, because without Fred being able to create his own little team within Ferrari that's insulated from all of the politics at the top, this doesn't go anywhere. The second John Elkann gets his fingers in the pie again, that's when it's all going to fall down. It's a tale as old as time. So, yeah, go on.
I mean, I think there's precious little evidence to. And you tell me, Shez, we're going into next season, right? The new rule set. Where do you rank Ferrari's chances? No one knows. I mean, we all know that Mercedes has the best power unit. Ferrari's power unit, question mark, could be great. Could be, SH1T, who knows? We have no idea. But then again, you look at what they're doing is now they have yet another organizational shift, right? And they're doing this stuff again. And these things take time. Even McLaren took about a year to kind of put all of these things together. And and there's no evidence to say that what Fred is putting together will last beyond one season, because guess what's going to happen? You get into next season, 2-3 races in, if there's a problem, It's over. So yet another season gone. Again, you're going to have the Italian media running circles around Fred. There's going to be this whole thing. Christian Horner's probably going to be available at some point. So there's, whether or not he joins Ferrari or not, there's going to be some of that. You have zero evidence to say that Ferrari will have the patience to see some of these things work out, as we have seen time and again. And I would also say, Shez, a little bit of the blame goes on Fred, right? Because week in and out, I mean, just go back to Baku again, right? He is saying the same stuff, which leads me to believe that either he doesn't know what the issues are with the car, or he is just saying the company line, which is correct. Something to, and you'll notice every weekend, I mean, go correct. Back, I think that's it. Every weekend, it's something to, we did not execute better. At some point, we were on, and last race, he said we were on par with McLaren. I'm like, McLaren were finished how many seconds behind Max? Like, it's always falling on this, like, oh, if we had just done this, but how is it that there are how many weekends? 14 weekends gone.
I think Fred has two issues here, right? The first is that one, he's going to be feeling the pressure because this is the team that he built. He brought in a lot of the, Lewis is his hire, Loic Serra is his hire. Jerome D'Ambrosio is his hire. These are all people that he has brought in. So if the technical and operational team are not working, it comes down to him. So he has to be able to defend himself a little bit. So I think that's probably where that's coming from. But the fact that he is not able to criticize his own team and say, look, yes, we need to do better, is a sign that there is still interference from the top.
Can I just say one thing, Shez?
Go on.
It's one thing to be able to say things. It's another thing to be able to see improvement. You tell me you watch Baku, right? What has changed? Nothing. It's the same thing again and again. They put different tires on Lewis's car in Q2. They put different tires on Charles's car. Like, why is it that that's happening at this stage in the season? First race, second race, third race, 14th race, 15th race, whatever it is right now, you're still going through the same thing. And so my point is, and this is again related to changing 95, 55, whatever percent of the car, right? Again, you finished P2 last year. You tell me if you have faith in the Ferrari back operation to say, okay,
but you're talking about two different. You're talking about two different.
I'm saying yes, it's two different things, Shez. But if you step back, they're correlated in that they tell you what the philosophical mindset is, the inability to understand what the issues are. I mean, China basically knew. I mean, you knew by the end of that third race, it was over. There was nothing they were going to. This is like porpoising or whatever the technical direction was in 22 all over again. Like the second that happened,
but I would argue with you that the only team in this rule set that have been able to understand what they need from their car is McLaren. Nobody else has been able to do it. And they've been able to do it because they've had ex-Red Bull staff turn up at their team. Red Bull lost their way.
Which has even Red Bull improved now. Even you say that, but look at how they
two races. This is two races. Look at the dominance. Don't do recency bias.
I understand that, but look at the dominance. Look at the margin of it. It's not that Max beat McLaren.
But also the other thing about Red Bull is that they've got a driver in their car that can do magical things with it.
Sure, right? Sure.
And Red Bull in this rule set have had an extended period where they have been good. And it doesn't take as much for them to understand what they need to do. But other than Red Bull's sort of mini resurgence in the last two races, let's be real, like Hungary wasn't that long ago, Mercedes haven't been able to make leaps and bounds difference over the course of this rule set. They're still only good when it's super cold. Aston Martin, despite having all of the resources at their disposal, have done absolutely nothing. So I think this line about Ferrari don't understand their car and have poor correlation, that's not just confined to Ferrari, that's everybody. And I don't think that should be used as a stick to beat them with when they make a decision to change their car wholesale. Because if they had kept the car they had at the end of last season, they would be walloped right now, because McLaren made a massive step change between 24 and 25. And what you're doing is that you are saying that Ferrari haven't made the step change that McLaren have. where McLaren are the only team really in this rule set that have understood what their car needs and have had tangible, positive up steps with their upgrades. Nobody else has done that.
Yeah, but I refuse to keep going down to that path. While I agree with your analysis, that the expectation should be different for Ferrari. I mean, think about when why? Because they came into this rule set having had 2 years to effectively build up to the kind of car that would have been competitive. Let's not forget 2021 went to the wire, and Mercedes and Red Bull were at it. They were at it. Red Bull even had a penalty in 2021. Like, so these are the advantages that Ferrari had. Like, they were already having a head start, and for them to not be able to figure it out. Look, I'll give Mercedes a pastures because
nobody has been able to figure it out. No. Literally nobody. Okay. Other than Red Bull at the beginning of the rule set when they had Adrian Newey, and McLaren towards the end when they've had ex-Red Bull staff. So nobody has been able to figure this out.
So saying nobody has been able to figure out is not a good tagline to take away. Like, we cannot raise the banner on that saying, okay, nobody else figured it out but McLaren. Like, that's not the standard.
Though. So my question to you is, that is the standard.
Ches, then my question to you is, when will you ever have the opportunity to say nobody but Ferrari figured it out? When will that ever happen? Therein lies the frustration.
It happened.
When?
It happened.
It's been 20 years now.
In the mid-noughties.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. So that's the point. You cannot mark yourself to the lowest common denominator and say, okay, well, nobody else figured it out, so okay, fine, I'm just the one. Just Adrian Newey did, so what are we going to do? Oh, by the way,
I'm not saying I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that you and a lot of people that I talk to keep coming back to this. They changed the 95% of the car. What I am saying is, if they had not changed 95% of the car, they would have been in exactly the same position. You're saying it would have been better, but you would have been complaining exactly the same.
I'm not saying that they should have changed the car. They shouldn't have. What I'm trying to say is, they do not know what to do in order to be the best. That is the problem. They do. I mean, come on. I mean, Shez, you cannot do that. Even McLaren figured it out from a technical. Just to say that. Okay, but
Stella, they did it by hiring. They did it by hiring people.
So go do that
from a particular team.
Go do that.
Well, yeah, they tried that, didn't they? So yes, the big problem was why did they not get hold of Adrian Newey? And we've talked about that at length. Anyway, okay, I think we're getting massively off topic here, but I think the overall thing, the overall consensus here really is that Ferrari at the moment certainly don't have a plan. They are restructuring again. That will take another 2 or 3 seasons to actually make any difference, I think. So in terms of what Charles can do in the shorter term, if he's got an out in 2027, yeah, he probably should take it. So in almost no time at all, Ammar, out of Aston Martin, Mercedes, and McLaren, where should he go?
He should go to Mercedes. He should.
Okay, tell me why.
I mean, this is assuming a seat is going to be available, which is an interesting thing, right? Mercedes, in my mind, are best positioned to have the comeback now. I think McLaren have had their time. And I could see them being competitive, right? I do not see them disrupting the driver pair they have. Like, I just do not see it because
Mercedes.
McLaren do not. McLaren will not disrupt their pair, because no matter how critical the rest of us are about the way they manage their papaya rules, the drivers seem to be very clear. They want to be multiple world champions. And they have the ability to do that with this team. When you change teams and when you go away from a winning team, go to another team, there are big question marks, right? You're now giving up a championship winning situation into something else. Like, so I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think either of those drivers are going to move, and I don't think McLaren are going to move them, barring the two of them getting into a fist fight, next year, which I suppose could happen. But you tell me if that's ever going to happen. So McLaren.
Well, I think Leclerc versus Piastri would be great, but I do agree with you. I think, aside from anything else, I think in terms of contracts and things, they've got long contracts on both their drivers. They both seem to be working pretty well with each other.
Yeah.
I can't see a major reason.
Why I don't see a major reason
why they would do it. But Michael Dill also has just said in the comments, I don't think McLaren value drivers enough to proactively sign Leclerc. And I think,
I don't know. I was just
going to say that. I think there's a point to be made there that McLaren are very much concentrated on their process and their engineering and their operational nous, and the drivers fit into that, as opposed to they will bring on a driver, and I think they will only bring on a driver if they feel that there is a gap in their operations or their processes, and I don't think they see that gap at the moment, which is why Leclerc and Piastri work perfectly well for them.
Oscar, you mean Lando and Piastri? But yes, I agree with you. I mean, they've worked way too hard to make. You said Leclerc and Piastri, but yeah, that's fine. That's what. I also think that they recognize that they're now at the pinnacle of the sport, right? In terms of their ability to win, and they're not going to want to upset the quote unquote apple cart, right? Like right at this point, I don't see it worth it.
What does that need to air quotes?
So Aston Martin.
Okay, so it's not. So it's not McLaren. Although
it's not
I do
McLaren.
think that in terms of for Charles, McLaren are probably going to be best placed to win multiple world championships from next season. They've got the Mercedes donkey in the back, and they've got a well-oiled, well-functioning aerodynamic team. So I think if anyone's going to bring a car to the table in 2026 that's going to sweep everything before it, it's probably going to be McLaren. But okay, let's go down the Aston versus Mercedes route. I see that you're already avoiding the elephant in the room, but yeah, go on. Let's do Aston,
which is Aston Martin. The question for me is who is going to give up the seat? I mean, look, it looks like Alonso will have to leave.
2020,
right?
well, this is it. Fernando's out of contract by the end of 2026.
Yeah, so that's it.
And he's already talking about I'm either going to stay or I'm going to go. But
I don't think Alonso wants to retire.
But the quotes that he's coming out with are like, if the car works in 2026, brilliant. But probably I'm going to be out at the end of the season anyway. So that, if there's a seat available for an incoming driver in 2027, Aston seems to be the place. And you think it's going to be Leclerc that takes that seat?
I don't know if it'll be Leclerc. I think Max would have the upper hand there because Aston have made no bones about chasing Max. The fit there would be great. Honda, Adrian Newey. Yeah, I mean it's all lining up in that regard, right? So I see Max as the favorite for that seat. If their car is truly competitive, maybe even if it's not championship winning next year, but it's competitive enough to be in the top 3, let's just say, and Adrian has sort of pumped the brakes on them being competitive right out of the gate, which is probably a wise thing to do. So I see a late season surge from them next year because Adrian is just that good, and they'll figure things out in order to kind of get up there.
Surge?
Well, because it just takes time. It takes time, right? And you don't know how the Honda engine is going to perform, right? So there's some question marks there, right? But I would imagine that, as the season progresses, I would certainly see them being competitive.
I think in previous seasons where Adrian Newey has been at the helm of a new rule set, it's been like a light switch. Like literally that team comes out of the blocks and they're just
It could be. I mean, no one's going to be surprised as if Aston comes in and wins the first 3 races of next season. No one is going to be surprised. Yeah, no one.
I'm not. It won't be me. I definitely won't be surprised. But I think, like, I take your point about Aston and Max, but I think Max has got his eyes on a different seat. It certainly seems to be that way from everything that we have heard, everything that we've seen of, like, every holiday snap that we've taken a gander at. It seems like Max is eyeing Mercedes and Mercedes are eyeing him, and there seems to be a lot of finger dating going on. But anyway,
I mean, he's not the only one getting the finger dating, so
okay,
we got a question.
So Raza, thank you.
Oh my God,
much,
somebody's keeping notes on me, man.
yeah, and they should be. Raza, you've beaten me to
my
it.
goodness,
this is exactly where I was going to go next. So the big elephant in the room is Mercedes. All right. So Leclerc going to Mercedes. Let's say the Max thing doesn't happen. All right. Let's take that out of the equation for a second. Leclerc goes to Mercedes. Who does he replace?
It's got to be George Russell.
But it's not going to be George Russell, though, is it? It's going to be Kimi. It has to be Kimi.
No, it's going to be Russell.
He's just not performing at the moment.
I know, but you're going on right now. I mean,
Yes,
okay.
Do you
So
think that he's suddenly going to turn a switch next season and he's going to be all
I think
there
he's
and
going to be
the
much
rules
better
set?
next season. I really do.
Sure,
I think he's
but
going to be much better.
enough to be beating George.
Look, I don't know if he'll beat George or not. That remains to be seen when they get there, right? Like, I mean, are you talking about
Well,
Kimi?
everything's
Sorry.
an
Okay.
unknown until then, isn't it?
I mean, so I don't know if he'll beat George or not. I don't think that's the yardstick for him. I mean, I've told you this time and time again. Kimi's goals and George's goals are different, because I'm going to get to George. Like, that's the elephant in the room that Razor wants me to address, right? I'm going to get to that, but let me just say this. Toto is not letting go of Kimi for at least 2, maybe 3 seasons. So at the end of 26, or let's just say if Antonelli struggles throughout 26, like, I want to say, getting up to summer break, then yes, all doors are open, all cards are open. But Toto has invested so much in Kimi. Like, he is going to live and die with this. And I'm not saying it's the right decision or not. I'm just going to tell you how this works, because people like Toto Wolff that have a certain personality, have a certain way of building success, they do not give up on stuff that they feel they know better than everyone else. And Toto has shown you time and time and time again that he believes in Antonelli more than anyone else, right? So I do not see Antonelli going.
But Toto isn't giving Kimi any more than a 1-season deal, is he? So
yeah,
I don't think he believes in that much. And if it comes down to a choice between the driver that is winning,
I think he's waiting
podiums and wins, and if Mercedes actually come out of the blocks fast in 2026, and let's say it is a title showdown between the McLaren drivers and George, I would put my money on George being the guy that comes out on top. Out of those 3,
okay, but Shez, that's
Kimi's not going to be the guy. And then, Ammar, if you then put into that in 2027, a Mercedes is going to say, we're going to drop George and keep Kimi in that situation.
No. In that case, there is no Mercedes seat available. In the scenario you just presented, there is no Mercedes seat available. So it's a moot point at that point.
If Kimi has performed in the way that he did up until Baku, I think and there are better drivers on the market, he's out.
No, I don't. I mean, I think
they'll take Max over Kimi any day of the week. And if Leclerc is shopping around and is clearly available, I think they will take him.
I don't think Max is coming if Russell is there. But I mean, I think we're okay. So let me just say this about Russell, right? Because yes, there's a good chance that Antonelli may not perform, or he might smash the doors out. Who knows what that looks like? The reality is he got put into this car way too soon. He should have just gone to Williams.
Didn't stop Isaac Hadjar, did it?
It didn't stop Isaac Hadjar. Again, he started with racing.
Didn't stop Gabriel Bortoleto, did it?
Yes, but again, there's no pressure when you're in those teams, right, Chez? It's all about a starting point. And when you're in those teams, you can perform more freely. When you're put in a Mercedes, and let's just be honest, with all the hype,
didn't stop Max like halfway through.
But Max also started with Toro Rosso, right? I mean, as did Seb. I mean, there's a clear pattern there that yes, again, the upgrade makes sense when you come from a second tier team, if that's what you want to call it, and then sort of get pushed up. Versus now, you can't go back. Now you cannot roll back the time. Essentially, that's what Toto is doing. He's going to have to live and die with this. And if
Mercedes are not a championship winning team at the moment. The only reason this is difficult is because George is in the other seat.
Okay, I agree with you. Look, we just got done saying that Mercedes hasn't figured out anything in this rule set. So I give you this: if Mercedes have a competitive car,
technically, yeah.
But if they have a competitive car, I think both drivers will do fine. In which case, there won't be an open seat for him. There won't be an open seat for Max or Charles.
I think if there is a
scenario is there, where let's just say Mercedes and McLaren are the top 2 teams, right? And I give you this: George will be the one fighting the 2 McLaren drivers, and he could come out on top. He definitely could. I would give him a much better chance than anyone else. But in that case, Antonelli could be amongst the top 3 finishers too. He could be a P4 at worst. That's not a bad thing for Mercedes. So just like we got done saying with McLaren, why upset the apple cart? And you have acknowledged because Max brings so much.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, but that would be the reason to not upset.
So I think if there is a seat available, no matter how well they have done, if George has come out on top, Kimi's out, man.
Yeah, but
it's definitely going to be it's almost certainly going to be
there would be no seat available if they're doing well. I think if they under your scenario, then either Kimi has to finish P1 or P2 in the drivers' championship to hold on to a seat. I don't think that's the benchmark.
Correct.
So I think we differ on that. I don't think he needs to do any of that. I think he needs to win a few races. He needs to be competitive.
Ammar, you are not understanding the strength of Max Verstappen. I think a team would do anything to have Max in that seat.
I don't know.
You are arguing
would McLaren do that?
You are literally arguing that.
Would McLaren do that?
Yes, I think McLaren would do that.
Come on, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't.
Yes, I think McLaren will do that. But I think pragmatically, I think Mercedes would definitely do that. But if there was an opportunity for them to sign Charles, would they do it? Yes, I think there's much more of a.
I think that's more of a
whether they would do that.
Yeah.
Which is why I think he stays at Ferrari in 2027 realistically. And the only other option he really has is Aston Martin.
But Max also has Ferrari dreams, so this may not be,
Max only has Ferrari dreams if
Lewis's seat will be open too, right? I mean,
but if that's the scenario, they'll get rid of Lewis. I don't have any illusions about that. That's what it's.
No. But all I'm saying is in this, my contention with you is I think Kimi needs to finish in the top 5 next season to hang on to a seat. That's all he needs to do. It would be great if he's competitive and in the mix for a championship, but I do not believe he will. I also do not believe Mercedes will come up with a car that smashes McLaren in the first year of the rule set. I mean, sitting here today, I think we've crowned McLaren as sort of the front runner. So I don't know how you could do any better than P3 or P4, right, or P5 in some cases. So
let's answer Raz's question directly, because I think this is the question that I want to have you answer as well. We've got 10 minutes to do this, so
all right, let's do it.
You come up with a good answer. If Mercedes were to replace George with Charles in 2027, is that an upgrade?
If Mercedes were going to replace Charles with George, or George with Charles,
other way around,
it would be an upgrade.
Why?
It would be an upgrade. It would be an upgrade because Toto Wolff just told you there would be an upgrade, right? I mean, that's number one. I mean, they believe it, so why wouldn't? Who am I
sidestepping the question?
Why am I sidestepping the question? You are putting more pressure on me as a commentator versus the guy who's making the decision. He is telling you.
But there's no pressure on you. There's no money changing hands.
Does George Russell have a contract? Does Russell have a contract?
What's it got to do with contracts?
This has also got very little to do with Charles. To answer Razer's question, right? It is not. I said Max would be Lewis Hamilton's
Why are you finding this so difficult?
Not Russell's replacement. But what has happened now that's very clear is Toto Wolff does not believe in George in the same way that even Zach Brown believes in Lando Norris. I mean, come on. Hey, this is just crazy. You do realize that Lando just signed his contract extension this year.
Toto's never come out and said, I'm trying to replace George with Max.
Nobody has to say that. No one will say that. Who says that? Who says I'm trying to replace another driver with Max?
No, because I think actually the play is more likely that it will be Kimi that gets dropped rather than George.
I don't know how you can say that. I don't know how.
Well, the fact that the only driver this season that Toto has been.
By the way, people are coming at me in the comments saying, "I'm not saying George Russell is not the man." Please do not get me wrong.
You also won't answer the question.
Okay,
why is Charles Leclerc?
I'll play your game. I'll play your game. You're right. Kimi Antonelli's on the hot seat. Okay, give George Russell the contract. What's the big deal? What are you waiting for?
That's not
we
my
heard
game.
about it. It was going to happen at the start of the season. We're talking about it's going to happen over the summer break. Now summer break is over. Now only 4 races. Why? You're right. You're right. George Russell is the guy. Tell me why he doesn't have a contract. You tell me why. I'll hear you. I'll tell you. He doesn't have a contract. I don't know what to tell you. I am not here dunking on George Russell. I'm a George Russell fan, contrary to what you would believe. All I'm trying to tell you.
What you are doing is sidestepping the direct question ahead of you. Is Charles Leclerc an upgrade?
Let me look in the camera here. Listen to me, all you Russell-maniacs, Russell-mania. Charles Leclerc is an upgrade over George Russell.
Why?
Slight upgrade.
Why?
I just think that, I don't know, man, the eye test says it all. That's all. You just know it when you see it. And You just know it when you see it. I know it's not objective. It's a very subjective.
Well, okay, but my eye
Number
test
two,
is different
Toto
to your
Wolff
eye test.
is dating Charles too. So I don't know what to tell you. Like that's what's happening. Like, I mean, again, I am going to listen to the guy who has the ability to sign these drivers, and he is telling you time and time again for 2 seasons now that he believes that there's a better driver pair out there. You do what you want with it.
Ammar, let's be clear about this. Toto is not saying there's a better driver pair out there. Oh, it's Kimi and Leclerc. He's saying it's George
Anyone
and
but
Max.
George is what he's saying.
He is basically, he's pining for Max. He's not pining for Leclerc. He's not giving George a 1 year. He's not giving George a 1 year contract because he wants to sign Charles Leclerc. He's not extending that contract because he's looking for Max Verstappen. Those are two different drivers.
Yeah, but then why is he not signing George Russell for more than whatever contract is needed?
So again, it's because he wants Max, not because he wants Charles. So
okay,
my question is, why is Charles an upgrade on George?
Okay, but Shez, you said
forget the contracts.
He wants Max. He wants Max and George, right? George occupies 1 seat. Max would occupy Kimi's seat. What is the problem with signing George to a long-term contract? In fact, it makes things very clear. George Russell is here for the long term.
Why are you sidestepping the question? Look, it doesn't matter.
I am not sidestepping the question.
We asked that the question was, why is Charles an upgrade on George?
Why Charles? I mean, have you seen the wins? I don't know.
Yes, I've seen George's wins as well. In fact, he's won more than Charles has this season.
This season? Oh, no. But let's see the totality of performance. Let's not do selective facts. Facts are good, but selective facts are not. Who's won more races?
Charles by 2 races?
Okay, well, that's 2 more than. I mean, what do you want? You want 15 more?
How many seasons has Charles spent in a competitive car?
I don't know. Ferrari has not been competitive this year. Last year,
it's had a car capable of winning races.
We wax lyrical about Max dragging a Red Bull to these wins. That's what Charles has done with the Ferrari these last 3 years. If he's won anything, that's all credit to him. Because Ferrari, sure as hell, did not deserve winning in Monza last year either. That is a lot of Leclerc tire management too, right? So I'm giving you the reason why.
But Leclerc had a car in 2022 that was up for the championship.
Yes, until it wasn't.
Has George ever had a car, even for half a season, where he's been able to fight for a championship?
Again, I'm not holding that against him. I'm not holding.
Well, then how are you expecting him to have more wins?
Okay, has Carlo who else do you want to put in there? We can put names.
Just those two. I'm not asking about anybody
Alonso
else.
has not had a competitive car for the last 2 years. Would he have been better? Yeah, sure, he could have been better.
Maybe.
I mean,
but we're not talking about Fernando. We're talking about Charles and George.
But your argument is if George had that, if George had that, he would win. Of course he would, but he didn't have it.
Yeah,
so I don't know what you want me to do.
It is based on machinery.
So do you want me
my argument would be that actually this season, George
you're
is a better driver than Charles Leclerc.
Okay, great, excellent. What do we do with that now? What do we do with that?
And in fact, they've been close enough.
Let's give him a contract extension.
4 or 5 seasons.
Let's give him a contract. I agree. I'm with you. He has been the second best driver behind Max. I agree with you. I agree with you. Let's just say that. I'm willing to give you that. Max number 1, George 2, then Piastri. I'll give you that. And now what? Now where are we with that? Where are we with that, Shez?
I'm definitely not saying that.
Your argument,
my answer has been throughout this. My top 3 this season, not even this season. My top 3 on the grid right now are Max, George, and Charles. And I can't put George and Charles in an order. I can't work out.
Well, look, they're tied.
That's why I'm asking. That's why I'm asking you to help me out here.
I'm helping you out by saying, don't live in the hypothetical world of what if George had a car. I don't know what if, because you can insert driver name here and say, what if so-and-so had a car? That would change everything. We cannot live in that world. We have to live by what we have witnessed in front of us. There are wins and there are no wins. This is like saying Danny Ricciardo was better than Sebastian Vettel if you take away the 4 championship. Duh. Yes, of course he would. Like, I mean, but you can't just do that. You can't do that. You can't. So what are we supposed to do? Assign an artificial win amount to George based on what he could have done? You can't do that, because then you could do that with every other driver up and down the grid. What if Hulkenberg had gotten a good car? Yeah, he could have won. I mean,
Yeah, but you can make a comparison between Daniel Ricciardo and Sebastian Vettel because they were both in the same car at the same time. Anyway, okay, I think this conversation is going to basically go nowhere because you're going to come straight back down to your lowest common denominator,
which is
which is who's got the most wins. Oh, as if that's the only thing that matters in Formula One.
I love Shez that like, you are the stats person that's saying, yeah, there are wins, but whatever. Like just put it down.
Yeah,
on the
because
side and say,
okay, because if you turn up and you're a complete novice looking at Formula One and you just go and win, I can understand that. But you're not. You're somebody that is steeped in Formula One lore, and you're still
just take away the wins from Max Verstappen. What is he now?
That's why it's better than
Max.
Slightly,
I mean, minus the wins.
Yeah, but Max does win in cars that shouldn't win. Anyway. I think in terms of trying to bring this to a close, yes, Charles should probably leave Ferrari, and if he's going to go somewhere, in terms of consensus, it's got to be Aston Martin, doesn't it? Surely
it's got to be Aston Martin if the seat is available. But jokes apart, I think Russell and Charles would make a good pair, and maybe Toto is angling for that. So I think the pressure is all on Kimi next year. And I also think, by the way, I would just say the fact that Russell hasn't gotten a contract, that's a good thing for him. WrestleMania, that's a good thing for you guys because he might have options too. He might have an open Red Bull seat. He might have an open Ferrari seat, although I don't know how good that is. But he might have those things. You don't know. So I don't know why he hasn't signed 1 year and just say I'll keep all the leverage.
I'm still keeping my fingers crossed that McLaren tweet the other day with 63 and the sunset wasn't just a coincidence. I would love to see George versus Piastri in the same team. It would be unbelievable. But anyway, pie in the sky. So Ammar, when are we next going to see everybody?
We're going to figure something out. Shez is going to be live at the Singapore Grand Prix track. So if you see somebody streaking down the track, then you know who it is.
It's only going to happen if there is a Ferrari win.
Oh my goodness! Everyone's rooting for a Ferrari. That's not going to happen. That's a very safe bet you took, man. If you had me saying Alonso is winning, I could have rolled with that too. I don't think Ferrari is winning. I've learned my lesson. We will catch up at the end of this race somehow, some way. We'll bring someone on to replace Shez if we can. Shez, you're not replaceable, but whatever. We're going to try anyway. So stick around with us. We'll have some fun.
Cool. All right, Ammar, it's been great. See everybody again a bit later. And as usual, please like, please subscribe, please leave us a comment. Thank you, everybody that joined us for the live. We'll read every comment that we receive and we'll respond to as many as we possibly can. And we will see you guys in the next one.
Fix it, Fred.